Hello everyone, welcome to Epic Servers. In this session, we're going to discuss about Einstein bots. My name is Anand. I am a Salesforce certified application architect. Here is the agenda for this session. Let's discuss about what are Einstein bots briefly, and let's understand a simple use case which helps an organization to deflect the cases, and a demo that has been built for this session. Then we move on to the exploration of the bot builder menu, various submenus and options in the bot builder. At the end, we'll implement the bot to achieve the use case explained in the step 2. What are Einstein bots? Bots or chatbots are a computer program that conducts a conversation via auditory or textual methods. Let's percept we can build two levels of chatbots using Salesforce Einstein bots. One is basic bots and the other one is smarter bots. Basic bots are simply a pre-programmed uh, questions. You give the customers option one, two, three. They're gonna pick one option, and the system will run the business logic attached to that option and provide the response to the customer. Smarter bots are one step better bots than the basic bots because they leverage natural language understanding technology. Einstein chatbots provides intents and intent sets where we can train our bot to understand the natural language communication or messages sent by the customers via chat. A classic example of this is, let's say as a customer, I'm asking the company's primary address or head office address. I can ask the chatbot, what is your head office address or what is your primary address. Now the bot is intelligent enough to interpret that both the questions and provide the right response. And the feature behind this is, as I mentioned, intents and intent sets. This is the use case which we are going to discuss and implement in this session. A customer who initiates the chat will be provided with two options. One is to request the status of their existing case. Number two, to create a new case. If they pick option one, our bot will ask a couple of questions like an email address or a case number to retrieve the information and provide necessary details. If it's option two, again the bot will ask an email address and a subject to create a new case and tie it with their contact. Let's see the demo. This is the bot that has been built for this presentation. So to test our chatbot, our bot is should be always be active and we can hit preview. Here we need to select the embedded service option that has been tied with our bot, and this is how it looks when the customer tries to chat with our agent. Let's click here. So here we are addressing our customer saying, "Hi, I'm Einstein, a digital customer support assistant." And just like I explained earlier, we are providing our customer with two options. Okay, so let's start with option one. So now, in order to retrieve the information, what I want, The bot is asking the email address or a case number. Let's start with email address. Now behind the scenes, a flow will be triggered and which queries for the contact that has been tied with this email address, and it also get related records which are case. Now if you see, these number of active cases are tied up with this email address. Okay. Now I can pick any of these case to retrieve the case status. Let's say I'm going to click this. So the information is the subject is case 2 and the current status is still new. As soon as the case details is provided, the bot is asking the next question, can I help you with anything else? Right? So now I'm copying this case number here just to test the other option. I would say no. So now it is providing me with three options. You want to go with the main menu. Main menu is where the bot prompted us with the two options, and transfer to agent if we are not satisfied or if we need a human interaction for sure. And if nothing else is required, we can end the chat. Let's say now I want to go to main menu. Remember these two options, right? I'm going to pick option 1 again. So instead of email address, now I'm going to provide my bot with the case number. If you see, the subject is 2 and the status is still new. So in this way, we can do whatever processing we want in the background to meet the business needs and provide the response to the customer without the need of a human agent. Let's go to main menu again. And now I'm gonna pick the second option. Tell me about your issue briefly. And this email address is to identify the contact and relate my case to this contact. See, your case is successfully created and attached to your contact, and this is the new case number. And here there are only two options which we are offering. Either we can end the chat or we can transfer the agent. Let's see how the transfer to agent works. Let me log in as an agent here. I'm going to the service console. I'll set as available and I'll select as transfer to agent here. And if we see here, now we already received the request here as an agent. If I accept, my messaging session will be opened. And we can see here. You see this? So now I'll be closing this. Once the live session has been initiated, there is no option for the customer to end the chat other than the standard option here. So I'm going to confirm end chat, and the end chat button is disabled automatically here. So this is the bot which we are going to implement as part of this session. I'll walk you guys step by step on how to implement this. Now let's discuss about bot builder menu. These are the menu items which I'm referring to as bot builder menu. Let's start with the overview. Here we can see the name of our bot, whether it is built from a template or from scratch, and what are the conversation languages that this bot can support, and the embedded connections which we configured for this bot. This is a standard bot and it supports standard channels like chat, which we already configured here. And it also supports some of the messaging channels like Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. And standard bots doesn't support the enhanced channels, which is MIAW, messaging in app and web. And coming to the settings section, here we can configure the response time based on our organizational standards or type of the bot we are going to deploy. Okay, so I leave it to default. And this is one of the important and my favorite feature in bots. If you see here, it stores all the chat transcripts, including customer data, in the events log. We're gonna see in the performance what are events logs soon, but I'll go back here. And this option is not enabled by default, so we have to enable it. And make sure about your company's privacy policy for the PII or GDPR information, because if your company has such policies, all your event log conversations will have the sensitive information shared by the customer, which is accessible to the people outside the scope. But this also helps in troubleshooting the bots. And next one is the bot user. So here I set up with custom chatbot user and I set myself as the chatbot user, but the default option is the basic chatbot user. So basic chatbot user, if we can go to the setup and go for permission sets, you see chatbot. So this is the permission set that will be assigned to the basic chatbot user. So if I show you, so platform integration user is the user that comes out of the box when we enable Einstein bots. So this doesn't leverages a standard Salesforce license, so it is free for using the Einstein bots. So any custom object access or any flow or Apex class access which we want our bot to access, those needs to be granted against this permission set. Okay, and one more option here is assign an existing user as the bot and use the person's permission. That's what we did here. This option is for the orgs where they are in the crunch of licenses. Okay, but it's not a recommended option. The recommended option is the last option, which is creating a custom user with a full standard license for each of the bot that has been active. This gives a better security organization, because we only choose, let's say our one of the bot is service specific and the other bot is specific. So the user which we assign here will make sure that permissions assigned to this standard user will or can access only the required information for this bot. I hope you understand. So three options here on the bot user. One is using the out of the box basic chatbot user, which doesn't consume any license. And the next one is using the existing license, like a system admin license or sales hierarchy head license or whatever. Or there's a sub option in the second option is to create a bot specific standard user with a full license, which helps maintaining our security clean. For now, I leave it to the custom chatbot user, which is my thing. And remember, so whichever user you are assigning, make sure you clone this permission set and update with the necessary permissions and assign it to that user. And article answers. So this is, I think, the most used option when any company or enterprise deploys their chatbots. So when a customer asks for a question, enabling this option gives necessary permissions and access to the bot to go and retrieve the matching knowledge article and provide the article reference link or the analysis from the article without going to leverage a human customer agent. And intent enhancements. So this is for cross-lingual intent model. So as I said, for the smarter bots and to leverage the NLP feature, intents are key. We're going to see that in a bit, but on a high level. So this is all about the overview page. Let's move on to the dialogues. This is where we're going to set our dialogues and add all our logic, right? So we'll come to it later. Next is entities. So what's an entity? An entity represents a type of data that you want to collect from a customer, right? So Salesforce already provided a basic entities. If you see an object type, a number, a date, time, boolean, email, something like that. But on top of it, if you want to create a new entity which will be treated as a custom entity, we have the flexibility for. Sorry. So the example for a custom entity is, let's say your case number has a pattern, and when you are requesting the agent, sorry, the customer for a case number, without the agent or the bot needs to process on the database to find it out that it's not a right case number, we can make sure that the data entered by the customer matches with the pattern you set up here. And one more example is postal codes. So let's say your postal code contains 6 letters and all of them are digits, or your postal code contains a combination of alphanumeric which is space in between, right? So you can set all those validations here in the entities with a regular expression pattern or with a value. Okay, one more example is, let's say you you are selling some vehicles and the possible colors that the vehicle is offered is only 3 colors. Okay, so instead of the customer shooting whichever color he likes, you we can restrict the list of colors we can prompt to the customer. So I'll just show you how to create a basic entity. So you see here it's a custom entity of type text, and if I go here, here I'll see value list. So here I can add all my colors, as many as we want. So in such a way, we are restricting the customer to enter the colors only from these values. So back to entities here. So that is about entities. So it's worth exploring the pattern with the regular expression, which increases the data integrity of the data we are collecting. Now let's discuss about variables. As you see, there are three types of variables here: system, custom, and context variables. Context variables create a dynamic mapping between Salesforce objects and the channel that your customer uses to interact with your bot. Let's say if it's a chat, the channel which we saw earlier, so we can get the contact ID populated as a context variable from the corresponding live chat transcript and object. Similarly, if it's a system variable, this bot by default automatically stores the last customer input in the system variable. So instead of us storing in a custom variable, we can leverage this if we don't need to store it or save it to the database. And the bot ID is the bot which initiates the transfer between the bots. So when we are debugging or when we are creating an orchestration, this ID helps us the flow of the conversation. And as usual, we can create custom variables. Here we already created a bunch of custom variables for our use case, and this is the way we create the custom or context variables. With a custom variable, it asks for the variable name, just like when we create a variable. And if it's a context, we can do that too. Now goals. This is also one of the important feature. So we can set the goals to evaluate the bot's performance. Let's say we have now in our use case, we usually start with two questions, and based on the first question the customer selected, then we are providing more number of options. And based on the option he picked, we are processing the information he needs and we are coming back with certain questions, whether to end chat or going back to the main menu. So we can set the goals for each of the dialogues we have in our bot, and this completed goal count which automatically populates based on the engagement uh, from the customer. So with this we can optimize the bot's performance. Let's say we noticed a pattern, like all the customers or either ending the chat or abruptly closing the chat at certain point of questions in the flow. Then we can interpret the questions might not be the user friendly, or the questions are confusing the customer. Then we can revisit the bot list of questions and do a little bit tweaks so that our goal is reached. So the goal we need to set is maximum minimum number of transfer to agents. That's when our bot is best leveraged, right? So we can set as many goals we want, and Salesforce automatically populates the goal count. Next is performance. So we can just like it's a reports and analytics dashboard. So we can install App Exchange free dashboards from App Exchange, and this is the important feature as I said. So all the sessions that has been initiated through this bot will be stored in these event logs, and it only stores logs for the last 7 days. So it's a rolling 7 days. You see the latest chat session that was started at 10:44, and the duration is for 0 seconds. Let's go here. So on clicking on the session ID, it will give us the entire chat transcript from the initiation of the chat session until the end of the chat session. So now the log level is just set to info, and there is out of the box debug logs that Salesforce automatically captures, and if we want to see them, we can see them. So these are the context variables. See the end user ID, the channel type. So this is how we can troubleshoot. And you see this error column here. Right now there are no errors on this session here as well. But if there is an error, the bot populates the JSON here, which helps us to troubleshoot where the error has happened. Now let's go to model management. uh, I kept on telling, right? So intents to make our bots smarter and smarter. The only way is to create intent sets, intent model. So we can train our bot with the natural language communications we receive, and we can ignore, reclassify to the intent sets. So which is nothing but training our bot. We'll not discuss much about this now. Let's get back to dialogues. Now let's start with the implementation of our basic Einstein bot. I'm going to my playground. So search for bots here. So click on Einstein bots. So we are already on this page. So if you haven't enabled Einstein's bot yet, please enable it. And then you can see new here. Click on new. So today we are creating a standard bot, not an enhanced bot. So standard, and I'm creating it from scratch, not with the template. So let's give our bot a name. So I'll make it Einstein. You can see here Einstein, and we can set our primary language. I left it to default. Hit next, and here we can customize the welcome message. You know, and I leave it to default as well. And here I can set up my main menu. So I'm gonna ask, is it about an existing case? Do you want to open a new case? So now I'll only go with two options. Hit next. We can pick an embedded service deployment, existing one, or this is optional at this step. So we'll set it up later. Hit next. And now once we hit proceed, it's gonna set up all these things for us. Hit proceed. We can see the status is progressing. It's done. Finish. So here we are at our bot builder menu, and we saw all these menus here. So before I do anything, I'll go on the overview and log my conversations and also change to my standard user. Let's go to dialogues. So we already see our two dialogues which we have created here. If you go under main menu, you always have those. So let's go here and let's set up our bot. So as soon as the customer initiates the chat, we are asking our bot to provide with these two options. So what should happen if the customer selects, is it about an existing case? So then I'll ask customer a static question. Okay, before we get into it, so here you see this component picker. It's similar to the component picker which we use in the Lightning flows. So we have messages, questions, and various actions. Here flows, Apex, send an email action, just like the core actions in Lightning flows, and some rules specific to the bots to navigate between the dialogues. These rules can be used. So we will see most of these how to set up in our implementation. For now, I'll go with a static question. So my question is, please enter your email address or case number. So as I said, for now we'll go only with the static. But in the next steps, I'm gonna show you how we can set up a dynamic one, and also how can we add choices. We're gonna see it later. And on the response storage, we need to select the expected response format. You see entity, right? We discussed briefly about entities, system entities and custom entities. So if we want to pick our custom entity, we need to create under entities, or here we saw the screen earlier, and pick that. For now, I'm good with just the system text, because all I am asking for is the email address or case number for which text should suffice. Now I need a variable to store the value that is provided by the customer. So I'll create a new variable. It's a custom, it's not a context. So I'll say customer email case info. So it's a text. As we already selected entity as a text, we cannot select this data type drop down here. Hit save. Okay, so if the variable already contains a value, skip question and use existing value, or ask question and override the value. For now, it doesn't matter because this is our first question. So I'm going to hit save here. And next one, what we want to do with the response provided by the customer. So here I'm going to use actions and pick a flow. So all these are available here under the action types and action. So Salesforce provides a lot of out of the box flow templates which we can leverage, you see, to create case, lead, lookup case. If not, we can clone them and we can add our customized logic. I did the same. So I cloned one of the out of the box flows provided by Salesforce, and I created this flow. I'm going to show it to you what's in the flow, but for now let's select this flow. We already saw this, or we already aware of this. When we select an action, if it expects any input and output in a flows, lightning flows, we have to provide them. So here also it's the same. So this flow here is expecting an input. So it is expecting a where customer email phone. So type variable. So to this, I'm going to provide this, which I captured in the first element there. And it is providing us with a few outputs. So info collection, it is it's providing the list of cases. So we need to create a variable here to capture that information because we need that information. So I'm saving it to go to variables. Now I'm going to create a new variable, custom variable, and it's a list because I want to store all the case records, which I'm going to name as case list, and the type is object. Save this, go back here to the dialogues. Now I can see my case list here. So the output that being sent by flow will be stored here. And it also provides case info record. So I'm going to create one more variable of type object again. I'll name it as case record. It's not a list. This is a record variable which has information about all the fields of that particular record. So save it. So what we did so far, we created two questions under the main menu, and we are setting up our first the flow for our first question. We captured the email address or the case number, which we are providing as input to our custom flow. This flow, which I'm going to show you now, is a simple flow where we're gonna retrieve. See, it's Einstein retrieve customer info, Einstein retrieve customer info. So it's an auto launched flow. So an important point to remember is from Einstein bots, we can either invoke an auto launched flow or a screen flow. We cannot launch any other type of flows. So I have selected an auto launched flow. So where customer email info, that's what we are passing our email case info. Right? If it contains at the rate, I'm routing into this branch. If it's not, I'm treating it as a case number and I'm sending it to retrieve my case records. So I'm using the email address or the customer inputs information to retrieve the email and then get active cases. Okay, I'm storing all the records and I'm storing that information in where case info collection. If we go here, that's what here which is one of our out, output variable where case info collection, which is a list. Similarly, if the customer provided us the case details, case number, so we are retrieving the case number and we are passing the case info. So only the record and all the necessary information for that record. So you see where case info record. So that's our custom flow cloned from one of the templates provided by Einstein bot. And next, let's set up rules. Okay, so what happens if the customer doesn't exist in our system? He provided an email address and we cannot find any contact associated with that email address. So we need to show some sort of message, right? So I'll be adding few conditions here. So I'll pick my case list. So this is the list of records. So if this list doesn't have any records, so I'll say is less than 1, and the case record is not set, meaning it's null, then I can do the number of actions here. So then I'll send a message to the user. Sorry, no records found. Please enter valid email address or case number. And I want to add a redirect here. I'll redirect to main menu. So we already saw what a main menu is. Our main menu brings back by answering the same two questions. So I'm going to save it. And let's say the customer provided a valid email address or case number. Then what we need to do, we need to provide the necessary information, right? So here are two cases. One, if he provides a valid email address, let's set that up. So for that, I'm picking a question. This time I'll pick a dynamic question. I'll say, thanks for your patience. Here is the list of active cases. Please pick one. And here, under the action, under the not on the back, under the action type, I'm gonna pick list variable, because do you remember we have our list variable here. Okay, and then let's say if you want to set up any backup rule, I will set up call dialog, and I'll use the out of the box provided error handler. Okay, and where to store the selection from the list, I'll pick my, let's create a new entity. No, so here it would be system object, because the user is going to select a case number, right? And here I'm going to select my case record, which we created earlier and we are reusing. So I'm going to select this. So now, as if we selected all these options, now there is a new option for us. So what are the options we gonna show to the customer? So because our case list have many details, right? But on the screen what option we want to select to the customer. So I'm using case number. So this is the format which the system understands to print the case numbers on the screen. So save it. And now I'm going to, so now the user has selected one of the case numbers from the list provided. So we need to provide him with the status. The status of your case is, so where is our case record information is stored is with the case record variable. And here is the, it's just like our record variable, so we can utilize or retrieve whatever information we want by using this case record dot the field name. So the status of your case is, sorry, it's not subject, it's status. Okay, and we provide, and now we're gonna ask more questions. So now I'm gonna ask a static question again. Can I help you with anything else? Okay, it's a static but with a list of options. So no. Okay, so if you want buttons, it would be like this, but if you want as a menu, it would be like this. I like this, it looks modern. And expected response format, so it's a text. So where do you want to store? You want to store in a custom variable where response, save it. And here in the next step, we can have multiple options. So I'm going to reroute the customer to our main menu and provide him more options regardless whether he selects yes or no. So show a menu. So I'm going to show him the main menu. I'm going to show him transfer to agent. Let's say if all his questions are not answered, he still wants an agent interaction. He can pick that. And we can also ask him to end chat. Is it clear? So the trickiest part is here to get the right variables based on the flow outputs and leverage them here. Okay, and now let's set up our second question, which is, do you want to open a new case? So earlier we were not, we are only reading the information with either case number and email address. Now we'll try to create a case. So I'm going to ask a static question. Tell me about your issue briefly. I'll make it as static, and response format, it's a text because I am intending this to store in the case description. So I'll create a new variable, case description. It's a text. Save it. It doesn't matter because I'm not going to reuse this variable again. So we are good. And I'm going to ask the user to provide his email address again. Another static question. Enter your email address. Why do we need this? To tie up the newly created case with his contact. So next time when he wants to check the status of his newly created case, as it is already tied up with his contact, he doesn't need to remember his case number. Instead, by providing the email address, our bot will be able to retrieve this case. So for now, I'm okay with the now we have system email address. So I'm going to create new variable customer email and save it here. Save it. So now I have email address. I have case description. So now I can go and create a case and relate it to the existing contact. So let's go to the actions again and pick a flow. If you see here, so intro bot create case. So this is an out of the box flow which needs some information to create a case. So we already have case description and routable ID. We have it under the context variables. Email address we have under customer email. Okay. And case number. We need this case number because we need to present it to the customer. So I cannot reuse any of the existing variables. So I'll create a new variable called case number. I'll mark it as new case number. Save. And case ID. We really don't need case ID in this use case, but this flow gives as output anyway. So if we want to use it for further processing in our flow, we can leverage it instead of retrieving it again. So I'm saving it. Now I'm going to invoke another flow, which is a custom flow, which I cloned an existing flow and created it. So it's for contact update. So it requires a case ID. We already fetching it from the previous flow, and email, customer email, which gives output of customer email. So we don't need this because we already have it. Save it. Now with this, a case has been created with this flow, and here the newly created case has been related with our contact. Let's provide the information, the new case number to the user. Your case is successfully created and related to your contact. Here is your new case number. So how to use the match fields? This is the format, right? For future references. Nice. So now we can end the chat. So show menu. This time I don't show main menu. I'll pick end chat or I'll pick transfer agent. Save. So this is how we can set up the bot for our use case. See the demo of it. To see the demo, to see the preview, we need to activate our flow. So I'm going to hit next. So do you guys remember? So we haven't set up the embedded service deployment when we are creating our bot. So now is the time to set up. So don't worry about this error. So chat with customers instantly. So give a queue name, demo chat queue, and here I'm going to add users to this chat. Okay. So it has to go here, and now use the same. So priority 1, these are the existing queues and their routing priorities. I'm leaving all these to default. So here we can provide our experience site URL or our website URL. You can see here. So in essentials, it has to be a website or help center, but in all other editions like unlimited performance enterprise, we can use a Salesforce site or a community. For now, I'm going to use Apex Hours domain. Hit next. And this is to actually with the cases and contacts, right? So I'm going to select this. So offline support, no, but if we select offline support, it asks these questions and creates the case. For now, we don't need that. Hit next. So it is creating the embedded service deployment for us. So this is the code snippet. We can access this from the embedded service deployments here under the setup. This is what we just created, right? So go and view. So the chat code snippet, this is exactly the snippet here. I don't need this for now. And if you want to change the branding of the chat button or the colors, the way it looks, you can set the look and feel here. And here are few settings. So the pre-chat page, it has fields. So we can play with these fields. But for now, I'll disable this pre-chat field. And it's an automatic save, so there will be no save button. And we already deactivated our offline support. I think we are good here. So before I test it, I just want to refresh. Now is the time to see the demo of what we have built so far. In order to preview our bot, we have to activate it. Let's activate. Let me refresh the browser. Select the embedded service option, chat with an expert. Hola. Yeah, I'll go with the first option. to test the scenarios. It should give us all my active list of cases. Yes. So I'm going to select one case number for the case status. The status is new. So it is asking, can I help you with anything else? Yes. I want to check the other options. So if you see, the entire flow got executed. Now we are at the next step where we are asking to show these menu items. If I hit main menu, it brings us to the main menu, and these are the dialogues in our main menu. So I want to check this one. If you see, instead of asking me for the email or case, it directly retrieved the active cases. So meaning, if I go here and select this, you see this is where we are storing the customer first response, right? And here I have selected skip question and use existing value. So as it already has a value, it skipped asking this question and invoked this flow. So I don't want that. I'll deactivate the flow and ask the question, save, activate, preview. No, I have to refresh the browser again. So it's the demo chat, chat with expert. Good existing case. I will provide the email address again. Thank you. So list of cases are retrieved. I'll pick one. Status is new. I'll copy this case number. Yes. I will go to main menu. About the existing case. See, now it is prompting for the case number or email address. Now I'll give case number. The case status is new. See, so now the flow got executed and it is showing us these options. So now I'm going to go main menu. Do you want to open a new case? Yes. Test the Einstein bot. So it is asking for our email address. Oops. So the case is created successfully, but the case number, instead of the actual value, the merge field is getting printed. So let's go here. So deactivated. So here is our dialog. So this is what that is printing instead of the value. So where are we getting this? We are receiving the value from this flow create case, and you see the variable name is new case number. Instead I used this one here. That's the reason. So let me copy this. New case number. Okay, this should be good. Save, activate, refresh. Chat with expert. I want to open a new case. Test Einstein email address. No, it didn't help either. I missed R. Let's correct it. Deactivate. Sorry for the typo. Save it. Activate. I'll refresh the browser. Rich content. New case. Test Einstein. Finally. Yeah. So I'm gonna copy this. So if you can, you can end the chat, or we can transfer it to the agent. Thank you all for watching this video. Thanks to Amit Chaudhary for giving me this opportunity. Thanks, Apex Hours.